on than in other scenarios against the Rengar, but it's also a respectful pick against Haru in particular.
Oh.
And look at this, Core JJ's longtime favorite support, the Zyra, that he played with so much aplomb. It's going to be considered to try to punish lane, but predictably, it ends up being the team fight choice. It ends up being the Taric after all. So initiation Taric is very possible here. I love the synergy between the Dazzle and in game 2 the hook shot from the Camille, but still the same person with Haru on the Rengar. You can use him as a true engage outside of just the bowler as he dives in, and QV can do a number as well. So strong initiation options for KSV, especially if Taric is grouped in, whereas ROX Tigers, very interesting draft again. I imagine we might see Unsealed Spellbook, and then we have also the Abyssal Voyage to talk about. So a lot of rotations possible from the ROX Tigers. First visit to the Azir as well is going to be fun to see. And can they make Camille into Gnar work? Because the last 2 times have been underwhelming from previously the dominant side of the matchup in the Camille. So 4-1, very powerful for the side of ROX Tigers, but that requires Linderon getting a help from his good mate in Sungwon.
Yeah. Bit of a side story. I'm going to be looking towards Crown trying to survive against all the potential pick that they have in the mid lane with the Abyssal Voyage you were talking about, with teleports coming in. Sungwon trying to go hand in hand with Lava to do the 1-2 punch and take him out. It's really going to be hard up against the Taliyah, who, well, it's going to be hard for the Taliyah because she does not have a built-in escape into her kit. But we will see. How aggressive also does Crown want to get on this Taliyah with the roams? Does he want to try to get a bottom lane fed early on once again, or does he just play a more passive mid lane this time around?
There's lots of high level the things to wonder about, and then there's the most high level. It's Haru's Rengar. It's always a treat.
Looking for win number 4. Can he get it here in game number 3? ROX versus KSV. Here we go, game number 3. A rare treat at the SPO TV studio. Whenever Papa and I cast together, generally it's 2-2-0s, quick and easy. King Zone crushing some nerds, but not the case tonight.
Haru has played 13 games of Rengar, but I'll hold on to the stats because face check time.
Nice little flash to get out early. Not going to be able to follow up on that, but Ruler now, no flash for the laning phase.
Ruler was on his own side of the jungle, but very far walked up. Had Sangyun and Ki, and they were out of vision for someone walking down the river. So creative little start there, nice to see. Expect it to be more level 1 action in a game where Rengar is involved, because his precise pathing is something you want early information on. Can't do much about the lane ganks at level 6, but the counter ganks and the predictability of Rengar pre-6 is much higher. So you really want to hold him in check as much as possible. And they know that Haru's side of blue side, we saw the deep vision there, pinged out by the side of ROX Tigers. But yeah, 11-2, so 13 games of Rengar, all of them on Samsung Galaxy. Now KSV was not a pick for him on CJ Entus, and by far his most signature pick. Won most of the MVPs they picked up, finishing, I believe, 4th in the MVP standings in spring season after being relegated off CJ Entus at the end of 2016. And the Rengar was the one that definitely people remember.
Curious as to if Ruler did pick up the Unsealed Spellbook or not. Based on how fast the cooldown is coming off, I would think so, but we'll have to wait on that. The confirmation from SPO TV will eventually come in here.
Be a lot of spellbooks in this game. Imagine Lava has gone for the Comet. That's very common for lane control for the Azir. Comet as the a spellbook Azir would definitely be a surprise, but we. You know, there's kind of a new spellbook meta that's been unleashed on us. It's by far the most viable keystone to stack because you can be so creative with your rune use with that particular one. It even helps you in the laning phase for the better backs. First clear, painful for a Rengar.
Yeah, but he gets it done very fast.
Full clear shot of the Gromp from Haru.
A bit faster than Sungwon here, who did just clear up the Raptors, but stays on the map. coming in towards the Scuttle Crab.
And look at this, very interesting. ROX Tigers flip their strategy and go for fleet footwork on the Varus. One of the reasons for this is that the Abyssal Voyage gives them some global presence. But this is the other bit of power is now teams are going to expect blind that it's going to be Unsealed Spellbook from the side of ROX Tigers and potentially put themselves in disadvantageous laning positions. We don't see it here. It's very much just Lethal Tempo and Guardian for Core JJ. But after KSV showed a very smart read of just ensuring they got first brick against all the teleports in game one, we do see adaptation in Keystones here by ROX Tigers. So already an evolving meta on patch 8.2.
The only spellbook in the game is Crown. He didn't get the memo. Still reading through the book to find it out, but I'm sure he will eventually. Someone has been down here for a long time trying to bait this in, but it looks like KSV know about this.
Doesn't really have anywhere else to go. The Krugs only recently respawned, so no big deal there. He'll just go back. So the opportunity cost of the gank timing was low, and I'm sure he'll be in position for Raptors and the rest of his camps. Good lane control for the Varus so far. And top lane, for once, Linderung on the Camille side of the Gnar matchup has been able to impact it. They had the Rengar in vision. It's pretty predictable in his pathing, so for once the Camille hasn't been denied in the first couple of waves. Linderung spotted going aggressive on the top side.
Control ward comes down late, but either way, they get a plant down, they get some vision in the red side jungle. Ping goes down onto the Raptors as Haru's coming in there. Might have a little skirmish here at the Raptors. We've been seeing this more often, trying to steal some of these little guys away. But he might be in a bit of trouble here, trying to dodge out, but he's got a Zir for the help. Looks like Kive from the top lane gets over here sooner, flashes the boomerang. That would have been a max range boomerang that might have slowed him down.
Well, see, he was also around 90% Gnar bar as well, so kind of put 2 plus 2 together, and I think it's a little bit too conservative, but I understand where Sungwon was coming from. Problem is that Haru saw that, and knowing Haru, he might start his invading very soon. Rengar's got through the hump that is the first clear and working his way towards the ultimate and the Warrior enchant.
We were talking a lot about Sungwon and how he's impressed us so far in 2018. Better stats, better overall first blood participation and kill participation, but a couple of mistakes in game 2 and a small one here in game 3. We'll see if he can pick it up.
I think he should be rewarded for his new ethos, though, because he seemed like one of the young players coming into the league who was very awed by, you know, the competition and the ambitions, the scores, the great junglers we have here, and also the big crowds. He was a very passive jungler. I mean, the only time I've been impressed by someone in the past was his Elise performances in spring of last year, but largely a passenger, was rotated out for Mighty Bear very frequently. So for him to actually have an aggressive mindset, you also spoke in interviews, Linderung and Sungwon, about finally feeling comfortable on stage. It's showing in their play, and you can forgive a couple of mistakes if he's also been a game breaker in other games, which is something you can say for Sungwon that was not possible to say about him before.
You were talking about Haru invading. Well, here he comes. Good timing on the red, but also a well-placed control ward by Sungwon to get some vision on his red, deny it as well.
And both sides reading pressure very well. Ninja rush on both top laners. Juve a lot more happy to push up now that the enemy Kha'Zix no longer has flash. And Haru wants to battle ward, like we mentioned.
He's back. He knows that red is still up, so just thinking about coming on in. The ping goes down, but will be taking that red now. Just going to hand over the blue here to Crown instead. Play it a bit more passively.
They want to recreate the pressure. That was one of the good things that happened for KSV in game 1, you'll remember, was Talia and that time Sejuani controlling the red side jungle and threatening dives. It allowed Ruler to get incredibly ahead in terms of CS in the 2v2 bot lane. So recreating that, controlling the bot side of the map is going to be the big thing that KSV are looking for. And this time they have the Gnar side of the matchup on the top side. So while he may not be able to go as aggressive as previous Gnars, he'll be safer with the ranged auto attack and not as necessary to dive in.
Ooh, look at this move. The early control ward from Lava on the brush means someone is unspotted in the brush here at the red buff. Looking for that smite is a little bit late, though.
Yeah, Azir had left lane through a ward, so they were pretty aware that he would be top side.
Didn't see that one in the bush.
Crown's roaming down, has ultimate, of course. Even getting some summoners here would be a valuable roam, and yep, we're going.
Okay, this is going to be targeted onto Songyun here. He gets devoured up. Nice dodge by Key and stopwatch. Look at how much time that buys. Trying to keep Key alive now as well. Chain of Corruption keeps them all back. A very nice escape by the ROX Tigers.
You're wondering the Devour would have timed out and he would have gone out of the belly even during the zone. It doesn't extend the duration, but max duration there, and also allowed him to spit him out over the wall. Got him to safety. Crown's going to keep chasing. Doesn't have teleport, so will have to make his way back mid. Haru picking up the minions in mid lane's pretty good, though, from the perspective of KSV, so getting extra farm onto their Rengar is very decent. Experience at minimum. Has to respect the blue buff Azir. But nice little roam timing, trying to recreate the CS lead that Ruler had in Game 1.
I'm sure ROX Tigers knew that this kind of play would be enacted by KSV. Wow. Small, little bit of time left on that ward, spots him out, delays the recall.
Bit of harass coming through control ward in the triangle brush, and also vision pushed up means happy times for QV to push in. Didn't talk about it so far, but Zombie Wars took a big nerf on this patch, so going to be a little bit less vision in the game.
Big scrap up in the top side. Linderong just trying to lock down QV. Both of them burning their ultimates.
So while there is no unsealed spellbook, you notice that the lane swap is on from the side of ROX Tigers. They want to end the laning phase against Ruler. No flash and exhaust on the support means that the next time Fate's Call was used could have been successful. So trying to create something here.
Key's level 6 too, Abyssal Voyage. He's hiding in the bush, but you'll notice that QV is playing very passively.
And awkwardly, Linderung traded cooldowns with the Hextech ultimatum to the Gnar ultimate. So
here it comes.
This is very tricky by ROX Tigers.
The ward, I think, was unseen by QV here, looking for the play now. Lava coming in from behind. He gets the Emperor's Divide. Gnar in a ton of trouble. That will be first blood given over to Sungwon. A well thought out plan that finally comes into play. But it looks like this bottom turret should go over to KSV.
Watch
it's going to be close, but it will go over to KSV. Tarek getting the last hit on that one.
And that's with 5 members invested by ROX Tigers to try to get it faster. They get damage on the mid lane, also the push. And they're going to continue on bot side as well. So KSV trying to punish the rotation. Songwon, predictably, is going to be going towards the Rift Herald, but they're going to deny a lot of creeps for the side of ROX Tigers. They're going to actually be in a pretty big gold hole here, just in terms of CS, because of having 2 lanes push in at the same time. Rift Herald should still be a freebie. We're going to watch the replay. QV had a pretty good idea this was up, but the extra roam from the Azir was the icing on the cake. He thought he was fine. Unfortunately, he had already used his flash to hop onto the minion wave. Good roam timing by Lava, good positioning as well. And in the picture-in-picture, we get the confirmation. We do see Rift held to ROX Tigers.
Yeah, that's what ROX like to do after making the roam up to the top side. It's part of what playing around the top side so heavily will get to you. And Ocean Drake went over to KSV amongst all of the action that we had earlier on.
Biggest loser in terms of creeps. Not actually a laner on the side of ROX Tigers, the jungler. It's actually a pretty big lead here for Haru. Already 5 camps, 6 camps ahead of his opposing number. Able to hard farm his way towards what we imagine will be a Duskblade second. That's usually the common choice on the Rengar in competitive play. We know Haru likes to load on the damage, so no doubt a Youmu's will follow that. Bot side, we get to see a lot of turret damage. We're just seeing turret trades. No Drake to trade up. Infernal does spawn next, so I guess ROX Tigers could cement some vision around the Infernal spawn. In terms of turrets, no lead there apart from a tempo lead.
Ooh, Lava getting caught up here, gets knocked back. Haru has been waiting all his life for this one moment, but did not find it in the end. They're trying to come behind KSV. 2 members stopwatch, but can they get out? Make that one. Can they get a second? Cosmic Radiance and the flash from Crown will discourage that dive any further.
Haru staying in the brush cost them in a big way. They were roamed on by, of all people, flanked by a Varus outside of laning phase, and also the Rift Herald went down to put extra pressure onto KSV at the same time. They couldn't play multiple lanes because the Rift Herald was also channeled, so with no control ward, camping mid lane for that long is turned around on KSV, killed a ROX, but also a lot of map controls surrendered to the ROX Tigers. QV tried to dazzle him out his back. Nothing doing. 76 damage by Haru. It's not mean timings just yet.
Nice. Kha'Zix almost has as much as Jax in that one SKT game. Very close.
It's very hard to do 2 damage to champions, though, so he's probably going to go above. It feels bad.
Yeah. We're only here at 13 minutes into the game. We'll see if Haru can catch up. He's on pace, you know? he's actually below pace. But
this is the flank.
See what happens.
I mean, this is the flank. Really nicely done. Abyssal Voyage flank onto Haru and Crown. Crown will live. Requires a lot of resources. It means they don't have Cosmic Radiance to fight in the mid lane. They don't lose the complete turret. They lose a lot of turret HP to the Azir.
Yeah.
Good news is that Talia can just walk up and clear the minion wave, so it's going to still stall out, but that was a lot of bonus turret damage from the nice map read by ROX Tigers.
The best Tahm Kenches, they can make this champion look so broken because you need to have so much information to make the plays that Key and his team, it's not just Key that's calling for this, but his team to have happen. So you need to see Haru and Crown in the brush to, you know, come behind them, go for an Abyssal Voyage and look for a play in the brush like that. Or to go for a 5-man gank up at the top side with the Abyssal Voyage, or to go for ganks in the mid lane like we've seen in the past. And it's part of the reason why we see a lot of Tahm Kenches here in LCK.
As we see Ruler just hop away from a Varus ultimate looking for a pick. I tend to agree with you, Valdez. Specifically, a lot of playmaking was added with the Abyssal Voyage being sped up so much. It used to be a very strong channel, very slow channel, I should say. Very obvious, whereas now much less conspicuous, and that means the playmaking is there. Still the frustration of the Devourer, but it's nice there's something else to talk about with Tahm Kench.
I feel like there's so much action in these games that there's limited time to talk about the other stuff we might want to talk about, such as Tahm Kench. So.
Look, we'll find another time for our cool stories. For now, we're going to have to be kept in check, at least by explosive action. That's what we want to see. Still waiting for Haru to get the first aggressive use of the Throw of the Hunt. The defensive one still led to his death around the mid lane earlier, as we saw a replay of.
Okay. He's got it available now. Can use the Taric in tandem, as you mentioned before, to set up some pretty unique plays with that, and set up Kyve for the big finisher, as he's been wont to do in the past.
Watching the lane assignment here. Camille in bot lane. Kyve just got Black Cleaver, so a nice spike for him. With the Infernal spawning in 15. See if Kyve can manage his Narbar, and if ROX choose to play around that exclusively after being pounded by that Gnar ultimate at the end of game 2. So a lot happening here on the map. Because Infernal has spawned, the action does ratchet up. Kyve building up his Narbar. It's not the time.
I know, this is not the time.
It's action time, SpoTV.
We're going on in. They're going to knock up the Tahm Kench. Not the engage that KSV was looking for. ROX in a pretty good spot here, 5v5. Taliyah going to come from behind and get that wall down. They're going to be split up here as Songyun in an awkward spot behind the rest of his team.
Kyve also flanking, will not be able to Gnar onto this wall. That temporary terrain would have been a great spot for a multi-man Gnar ultimate. Doesn't happen. We all take a deep breath. Kyve still hasn't transformed, so he can't wait out. He's not exhausted.
Ooh, Lava getting knocked up there, eating a bunch of damage before this fight happens. Linderong taking a moment to push the bot lane as well. A small little maneuver. Kyve looking for it. He does get the stun onto one, but not quite enough. The Chain of Corruption coming in. And delaying this is such a tense fight. We're looking for the Camille to go in now. Lots of low members of KSV, and it's the poke of Lava who's also low. Here comes Haru from behind, looking for the pick on the Lava. The perfect Devour saves his life, and nobody has died yet. Linderong is getting out of here. The boomerang slows them down. At the end of it all, lots of low members. Looks like KSV win the Infernal for now, but someone's still lurking in the bushes.
Oh man, you were clenched for about 30 seconds waiting for the first person to go down. No one goes down, and because there are no unsealed spell, there's not enough time to teleport back in. It is Infernal to KSV. So many almost engages. The face call was like a minute and a half ago to start off the tense fight. It's like definitely a showdown, but no one fully committing, and all the summoners being up. means that we don't actually see the fight registered. QV was on Mega Knight transformation for a long time.
Ooh.
Gets the stun against the wall. The hitbox can be very interesting there, but does scoop him against the wall despite it looking like it was straight up the river. From there, we see the Hextech ultimatum to immediate defensive flash. No one can stand the focus fire of multiple members. The re-engage. Speaking of engage, we should talk about what's happening on the minimap here.
Yeah, QV is going to get 3v1, it looks like. Although Linderong is getting low, but that is going to be the kill. I would love to see what else is happening on the map in live. It was a very tense moment in the replay, as you guys can tell, but that's the end of it. Wow, that was interesting. They're going to get crowned in the end of it. They will trade it 1-for-1, though. Seongwon, awkward spot here. Can he get out?
No. Well, yes.
Yes, he can.
He actually had his ultimate available there. I assumed he used it on the entrance. That de-aggro there was big. So a lot of things just happened that we weren't able to fully grasp. Clearly, QV was slammed by 3 members, but in the mid lane, they're not able to take the turret either, and ROX might actually get a kill, and 2 kills, and also the turret in this exchange. Could be big. KSV don't have the most wave clear, but they're able to walk up. Turret's very low.
Oh boy, okay. Has the Tom Kents nearby, playing around his team. And once again, ROX Tigers find themselves in a decent spot. They're down Drakes, but they have the gold lead at this point. And this is what we were saying actually in the beginning of the broadcast, where KSV, some question marks, you know, like a small question mark is about to pop out of the ground, like, hey, what's going on here? And they're having a little bit of trouble once again to stomp out one of the teams that's on the bottom 5 teams of LCK. It goes to game 3 and they're behind once again. Obviously not out of this one yet, not trying to say anything like that, but let's see if they can pull themselves back into this one.
And I just try to follow the logic of what a KSV series looks like, because they are still 5-1. They still have won 5 matches, and to me, with Ambition, it's all about let's farm for a bit and then make a smart map play or take advantage of an enemy mistake. That's usually the way they go there. With Haru, if Haru's ahead, everything just clicks into piece, and they're able to finish a game very quickly. If Haru's behind, it's a little bit of a crapshoot as to how the game plays out. So they don't really have reliability outside of Ambition starting, but Ambition is being exploited more and more for his defensive tendencies in a meta where you can run jungle carries pretty confidently and make things happen. So it's why things are pretty unclean for KSV. They still don't know who their best 5 is, and to me it's Haru, but even then there's still kind of little kinks to work out in terms of integrating him into the lineup. So they certainly don't look like a joint first place team that they find themselves in, and I guess you could say it's early in the season and they'll be happy to be 5-1, but they need to take the next step soon.
Well, they're trying to get aggressive here. Once again, it's only Key. Looks like someone didn't agree to join the Abyssal Voyage, as nobody else was anywhere near Key here. Just a little bit farther down the lane. But they are pushing in onto this turret now. Let's see what kind of poke damage they can do with Lava sitting at level 14, doing a nice bit of chunk damage to QV, Core JJ, and Ruler down there.
This also prevents them from Haru looking for any sort of flank, because they have the turret up, Sun turret here, to make it a very short lane in mid. They also have Camille push at the same time, so they're running the map here really well, given that Talia is so far away from the action.
Chain of Corruption comes in, and look at the poke damage that they can put out. The blue buff on Lava, very important. Did just run out here, but add that in with Songyun and this push in the bottom lane. You were talking about Linderong, able to quietly get a tier 2 turret in the bottom lane.
Just playing the map so well. ROX's early to mid game has been improved in so many ways, and it's only 5 games in a row, because game 1 against KT was abysmal from the side of ROX Tigers. From game 2 onwards, they've had new plans. They've impressed us with their use of the spell book. Not in this game, but in all their other games they've played recently. And now they're just understanding where they're strong, how KSV's comps wins, and then just choosing the right time to group. I feel like they group and also split push very appropriately, which is a difficult thing to be coached. So credit to the coaching staff for really making the timings here for the ROX Tigers team just a lot sharper than they were in previous years. And that's why they find themselves competitive against a lot of the teams that preseason you would just very quickly hand the win over. I mean, the ROX Tigers, by both Cloud Templar and I, were predicted to be bottom 2 with Kongdu Monster, and neither of those predictions have looked on the nose. You know, we weren't to know about SKT's woes. We knew that MVP would struggle, but ROX Tigers have certainly overperformed.
Well, they're looking for CoreJJ here. Let's see if they can stun him down. Fate's Call will save his life. They're trying to go on to Key, who flashes away. CoreJJ getting so low. Devour saves the life of Songyun just on the back end. We'll see if ROX want to continue chasing. Looks like the answer is no for now.
And the fight has been away from CoreJJ so frequently in this game that the Cosmic Radiance has always been used late. They haven't been able to truly engage because that link between CoreJJ and Haru hasn't happened this game. They haven't been able to play make with the Rengar. It's a little bit of a different style to the Camille, but they find themselves under a turret with Talia in a side lane, so they can't really wave clear, and they're going to lose turrets over time.
The slow push comes in. They get the Kalista on the back, but Songyun getting low. Someone, though, going to jump on in. CoreJJ still has his stopwatch. Lots of poking back. Crown makes the play, predicts the flash with the zone, but he is the superhero, the MVP so far in this one, saves the life of Lava.
I feel like Crown needs to stay grouped with the team. He's trying to create pressure on the map somewhere, and you understand why he wants to do that. Otherwise, they'll just lose in the 4-1 with Camille getting objectives, but then they just don't have the reliable wave clear. There is 2 items onto Ruler, so eventually they can clear waves, but they're being exploited and just pushed to their absolute limit when it comes to trying to defend as a 4-man unit. Azir and Varus is so much poke, and there's no threat onto them because Tahm Kench is there as well. So a lot going on here. KSV coming apart at the seams in the 4-1. They just want a 5v5. They just want to have Haru initiate on his own regards, but they've been denied that so far. That's why they're down to the tune of 3,000 gold.
You were talking about ROX playing a better overall team game. I think a lot of that is due to the coach, obviously, but also it seems to me as if these guys are practicing a lot more as a team, more scrims, more time together. I think that's a big part of what makes you better as a team as well, and it's really showing. I did mention in summer how old Longju, current KZ, were, after destroying a team, they go into the locker room and they're like, still talking about the game and what they could have done better. I saw similar things out of ROX the last time they played, where they're just heavy in discussion after the game. And so far, it's been looking up for them. They've obviously put a lot of thought and time into preparing for that really hard schedule they had of KZ, KT, and now KSV.
And it's also the fact that the cavalry they have has evolved in ways that no one could have known. Like Linderung and Sungwon for 2 years were filler players. They came in, did decent, often their team lost, and we moved on to the next game, not really knowing anything new about Linderung and Sungwon. Both of them forging an identity in 2018 after a long time. Then you had Lava, who came in as a replacement for Mickey after Mickey went to Team Liquid. And he could play shielding champions. He was an ex-support, Taehoon for SK Telecom T1 as a sub-support trainee. He could only play, utility champions in mid. Let's protect Songyun, that's all we've got. Now he can play carries in a way that we couldn't have known. He's really been able to up his champion pool. So you've got 2 people stepping up, someone redefining themselves. The bot lane was always the strongest part. Now it has a real broad shoulders to lean on in the rest of the map, and together they just become a better team than could be evaluated with no information.
We're looking for Crown and the Weaver's Wall behind, thinking about an engage, but once again, Linderung was nearby. His Sun's turret is still available. They decide against it.
Yeah, the Sun turret removes the threat of the Weaver's Wall and also the Haru going in, so right now, they're getting no value from Talia and the Rengar that really should be punishing them as they're turning on Rengar.
Yeah, looking for Haru here. Thrill of the Hunt comes out. They catch him with the Chain of Corruption on the back of it. Lava gets devoured and survives. Now it's just going to be up to Songwon to get out of here and try not to get caught once again. They catch the jungler. Where do they go from here?
Has to be Baron. It should turn on to the Baron here, you would think. There's a lot of damage on the side of KSV, but issue you see is that Key would have to tank it up, so they decide not to go for it overall. Baron would have been the objective to really punish KSV, who are already having trouble wave clearing in a 4-1 scenario. So it only ends up being a kill. We all take a deep breath. The next pick, though, it will mean Baron.
The entire game has been tense since minute about 10 when they started fighting. It's nice to live in a world where stuff happens, and action actually happens.
It's because ROX Tigers have the winning strategy, which is wait for the Sun turret to be up, group as 4 in mid lane, put up a Sun turret, and then both Talia and Rengar are like, I really wish that turret would go down. We want to initiate.
Not a big fan of Azir.
Core JJ can't be playmaking with Haru because he's trying to desperately help top up the members with his tier and just the healing coming through from his Q. And it's very awkward here for KSV. They're being dictated to again. When ROX Tigers are on the blue side, they're really being able to put together comps that KSV on red have not been able to counterpick with any regularity. Camille has the run of the game in a way she hasn't in the Gnar matchup for a while. And that's why things are so tense, because if a big objective like Baron goes down, do ROX Tigers just basically win the game? You know, it feels like the Baron buff power play here is going to be massive. So we're looking for a mistake, you'd think, from ROX Tigers. So far, they've been so smart on their lane assignments. Again, it's 4 members in 1 lane. No Sun turret this time, though.
Yeah, a bit of a longer one up in the top side. Crown, look at the damage he's taking, though. Someone trying to slow everybody down with this W, but we have the engaged Devour comes in, but the lockdown up to Core JJ is perfect. Out of Songyun, that's gonna end now. The Cosmic Radiance, they're looking for a pick. Here's Kume, though, he misses. Not able to have it out. And look at Songyun all alone. In comes Linderong from the back. Haru can't even do anything. He's totally out of the fight the entire time. They get another pick, and now they're going for another turret.
ROX Tigers don't need a second reminder of the Cuvées now. A double flash instantly means no value on the scoop. Now they have a shorter lane to play around when the cooldown comes back from the Sun turret. They're pushing in. They want to break the base now.
Should be able to here, barring a big mistake. The amount of poke this lineup has, and the engage. They're going to get onto Ruler here, who somehow still has the stopwatch. Although that knockback there by Crown was nice, it's not going to be enough. 2 more kills on the board here, and the push continues.
Okay, he's going to try to tank it up. Still actually a very tanky turrets. They need everyone to hit it to actually take it down in a regular fashion. Finally get it. Minion wave is here as well. 30 seconds on Ruler. But the smart play from ROX to back away, take the Baron, and then with a Baron, maybe they can end the game.
Yep, Abyssal Void's coming in. They want the Baron right now. Gonna take red buff first. Give that over to Lava, the health regen. Guys.
Lava could die here, by the way.
All right, you can tell that the pressure is on. Although he is going to begin poking here, there is Haru looking for it, and he is going to get stunned up. That's going to be 1 kill, make it a second, and the Baron ROX making plays all over the map.
You really want that hybrid of Haru ambition, don't you? That Baron contest was not a smart one. Haru didn't have flash, didn't have ultimate, there was no blasting plan. There was no plan for them to actually contest the Baron. It just ends up being the cherry on the cake, a couple of extra kills. 10-1 is the kill score. We're going to see the replay. Every time they've tried to make an aggressive move with the Fate's Call, the Taric ultimates as well, they've been so well kited out. There's no threat onto the members of ROX Tigers. There is threat from Cuvée, but double flash means that Cuvée can't get anything. Linderong jumps in. He's been split pushing the rest of the game. Reminder, they have 5 members, and like you say, Haru awkwardly watching on, nothing he can do. The tempo of the game set by the ROX Tigers, and it wasn't a gimmick. It wasn't the extra teleports from the Unsealed Spellbook this time. It was just better map movement by ROX Tigers.
Yeah, just straight up good map movement, good macro play, and playmaking ability on the side of ROX, which is another exciting thing for me because it's not like they're sitting back and getting tiny little advantages. It's very smart movements. They're being aggressive and proactive on the map and making KSV play to the tune of their game, which is always fun to see when you're kind of outplaying the world champions on the Rift.
And the highlight for me has been Key in his use of the Abyssal Voyage and even the Devour, but the Abyssal Voyage in particular, a demonstrable skill lead. It's been great.
Okay, well, we have a wall coming in here. Kivay trying to build it up. He wants to get that ultimate, but the Emperor's divided. He goes down. He can't get in there. They're too far behind now. They're going to lock down Ruler, too. That's going to be 2 kills. And ROX, we will have a pause. I don't know exactly what happened here, but seemed pretty clean to me.
Recent issue has been around Guardian Angels, so I'm not 100% sure if there was one there, but we'll wait and hear something. There's actually a pause on the side of ROX Tigers, interestingly. Sounds like, at least, usually when we watch them in the booth.
Lava, he was smashing on one of the keys. Maybe he tried to Zonia's or something and it didn't work.
He definitely doesn't want a remake, by the way.
Yeah. If I were him, I'd be like, yeah, let's just deal with it.
We're waiting to diagnose the issue, guys. So we just talked about where the game is at. 10-1 was the kill score. It's 12-1 now. With the 2 kills that went down, looking like this could have been the passage of play that ended the game for the side of ROX Tigers.
This is not a pause that feels good for KSV when they're behind and they just lost 2 members and then the enemy team pauses. It's got a sting here. Lava kind of just laughing about it. Doesn't seem affected too much. As you mentioned, definitely don't want a remake from here.
Feels like they're just about ready to inflict the second huge defeat by KSV. First one against Kongdu Monster, where it felt like an hour and a half later they were knocked up, they were engaged on, they lost in very one-sided fashion. Getting a confirmation now. Sounds like it's to do with Lava, who's got an issue.
So Tom Kench, I think, devoured someone and then something happened. So let's see.
Let's watch the replay here. So we're watching Tom Kench, and it sounds like there might be a bug after Tom Kench
so
is through involving movement.
He can't move.
He was stunned. He was stunned there because of the terrain, and now he's actually stuck on the tree. Oh, no.
He's a bird, you know. He's taking a little rest on the tree. You got to do what you got to do.
So there are those weird situations where temporary terrain is created where you end up with a longer stun, right?
Yeah.
You think of a Nivea wall and the 5-second stuns there. It seems like the
thing is, how do you go back on this
there's
one?
chrono break. I'm not 100% clear how chrono break works in the LCK. We haven't really had that ever come up in a remake.
Do you really want a chrono break at this point? You might just be able to push in 4v3 and win the game, honestly.
That's true, and that's kind of a weird thing to evaluate there. I don't know what the you have no other information, but we're definitely looking for a solution that doesn't involve a remake, I assume. Yeah, we'll of course relay information as we know it, but that's not a good look.
It's kind of a funny one, though, getting caught on the terrain.
I guess,
something that doesn't happen very often.
Could you devour him again? That might be able to reset it.
Yeah, just wait and devour him again and then go from there.
Game issue is one of the least on-the-nose things we've had at SPO TV.
The least descriptive. I mean, at least we know it's an issue with the game and not outside the game.
Looking at the information here, appreciate the overlay. Big gold lead for ROX Tigers, a 2-kill lead just from that last passage of play.
We even had a CG for the pause that came in. Kind of swooped by. SPO TV came prepared this time around.
You know, like in the off-season, everyone has something to work on. I think a better pause overlay was what SPO TV was like, we need this.
So what we're going to do is we're going to resume the game, and he's going to try to move. If it works, then we just go from there. And if not, I guess we might pause again.
And then we have to try and diagnose something else. I think devouring him again would be lovely. Obviously not great that would be what's necessary, but I imagine this is going to largely happen off screen, and then when we're rolling, that probably means that gameplay will resume. But ROX Tigers, this is definitely feels like an act of God, right? When you're this close to beating KSV, a team that comes in with a lot of hype, a team that is joint first place, and then this does befall you. So close to the end of the series, as far as we could tell. Felt like another 34-minute game to join the first 2 that have been around that time. KSV. Really well controlled here. I love the use of the Sun Turret, running it down mid. Strong 4-1 with the Camille, who was not held down. And then Haru and also Crown just being unable to engage under the enemy Sun Turret and thus being held behind. Now, of course, they were ahead. They could look to dive a turret, but with Haru being farmed but not in any way fed, they weren't really in a position to do so. Yeah, waiting any other information, hoping we can get back into game for what was looking like ROX Tigers being able to close. Taehoon still looks, Taehoon I should say, Lava, old ID Taehoon, still looks a bit bemused by the situation.
Yeah, a bit of exasperation on his face as he's kind of chuckling, saying, what the hell? Like, we were about to win the game. Did this really have to happen right now? Unlucky.
A lot of people here at the Nexon Arena in Gangnam also waiting for this game to get back in, waiting for there to be what felt like the last explosion of action before the game just ended, Valdez.
Yeah.
Like, that's the timing here is so cruel for everyone involved. So sorry, everyone watching around the world. But it sounds like we're going to need a couple more minutes to solve this one. And we all kind of have to awkwardly wait on for such a pivotal moment in the game.
It's awkward for ROX, who are about to win, but especially awkward for KSV. Haru on the screen, thinking over what exactly went wrong in this game. He's sitting on either 0-3 or 0-4 on his beloved Rengar. It was 3-0 before, but now may just be 3-1 after this game.
Kind of the good thing about this game, though, when we're evaluating KSV and also evaluating ROX, is that it hasn't really been about significant errors from one player, and we're back in game now, so
we just devoured the Azir here, and we are going to go into the game. So Papa Smithy had all the answers, and I think it's going to work out from here, guys. 5-on-3, turret's going to go down. The rest of them just getting super low. Desperation now. Someone looking for some extra kills. Has the GA. No way to get out of this one. ROX Tigers are going to take the 2-1 victory over KSV. The result we knew was a little bit delayed. A very well-deserved victory.